Stan Lee has passed away at 95 years old. His wife passed away not too long ago, too. It must have been lonely to all of a sudden be without his life partner. Seriously, there was a thread in here I was reading earlier on today about who you can't believe is still alive, and someone mentioned Stan Lee. No frickin' way! I'm 40 years of age. When I was growing up, all the Marvel comics I read featured Stan's soapbox, a short column where he would write about whatever was on his mind. It was like a personal letter every month, and always did such a good job of welcoming all into this little club of misfits and weirdos. Stan is different than most of my heroes in that when I think of him, I'm always 13 again. I guess over the next few years we will see how many future cameos were filmed early. It will be nice to still see him and know that there is more to look forward to. Goodbye to a great mind. Between him and Hawking it's been a terrible year. Both changed the world in their own ways. Stan Lee dying is like David Attenborough or the Queen dying. I refuse to believe it's possible until it is. Late diagnosed dyslexia and attention deficit disorder meant I couldn't read at the age of 8. That is until my mom bought me a stack of Marvel comics. Stan is my hero because if it wasn't for him I would be illiterate. My biggest regret in life is that when I met the man I froze and couldn't tell him this. I now teach English. God fucking damn it. The Queen better stick it out to 2020. His comics were so fucking enjoyable. Another great loss. He was born in 1922. Ottoman Empire exited until 1922. They also just finished building the Lincoln Memorial in 1922. Weimar Republic, British Empire, all those were still a thing back in 1922. Living to the age of 95, having a hugely successful career and all. Sounds like he had a great life. Honestly a large adult male in his 40s, almost broke when his cameo came up in Spider-Verse, especially because of why his character shows up and what he says heroic sacrifices are a weakness of mine. The guy created characters that served as father figures for kids who didn't have one in their lives. Provided pillars of morality and courage for many people. Can't imagine how many people battle depression, anxiety and suicidal thoughts by thinking if Cap can fight in the name of good and the truth, I can make it one more day. Thank you Stan Lee. May you RIP. I was a young gay kid that was bullied all the time. The world of comic books were an escape for me. Many days sitting alone and escaping to the works of Stan Lee. I remember reading a Hulk comic, where the Hulk didn't care that a character was HIV positive and saved him when no one else would. Thanks Stan Lee, the characters you created were my friends and heroes when I had none. Stan Lee was a cool guy. He used to come to my elementary school every year during the book fair, and I still have no clue why my Midwest school was so special, but I know kindergarten till 6th grade he came for one day. And I met him every time. He taught me through his stories characters to be me. To not worry what anyone thinks about me. Stan Lee taught me that being yourself is better than being no one, that being yourself is what makes a hero a hero. I never met him, but I lost a father today. Stan, the heroes you imagined may have been only that, but you used them to make the world a better place for so many people. We miss you already. Godspeed, and thank you. He made my imagination soar. I roamed the galaxy with the Silver Surfer, challenged the gods with Thor, explored the seas with Namor and felt the loneliness and isolation of the Hulk. X200B. The saddest thing about this is hearing the news of those closest to him trying to coerce money from him. I didn't read too much of it, but it's always disappointing to hear regardless. 95 is a grand age, but he's also left a lasting impact on comics, TV and film. Couldn't have asked for better really. Thanks Stan. I've always liked Stan Lee's name. It sounds like Stanley, but isn't it? It's cool. A nice thing I like to think about is if his name is actually Stanley Lee, and he just calls himself Stan for short. Whether or not his name is actually Stan or Stanley, he will be missed. If it wasn't for his comics, I never would have picked up a pencil, found art, fallen in love with drawing, gone to art school, which led me to photography, which led me to starting my own business. He also introduced hard concepts to my young adult self, taught me the love of reading and imagination. His comics changed my life. I'm by no means a big comic book fan, but I've always loved the character of Spider-Man, and the shows and movies he's been in. I know that Lee can't read this, but I want him to know that his wonderful writing and beautiful imagination struck a chord with me, and still does. Rest in peace. I didn't meet him personally, but I was front and center at an intimate event in which he and Kevin Smith had a conversation about everything. X200B. Stan Lee had so much charisma it was astounding. Like, presidential level charisma. You know we did this right? We're one day away from Endgame and the last Stan Lee cameo. I will cherish it. Thank you Mr. Lee for all those superheroes that still and always will have a huge part in our lives. I lived for Saturday morning X-Men in the early 90s. Thank you Stan for whatever you had to do with that. The most heartbreaking part of Avengers 4 will be the part where they show the words RIP Stan Lee at the end of the movie, crying face. I am not an expert in any way, shape or form when it comes to comics. Boyfriend told me that Stan Lee makes cameos in the movies and I remember the first time I recognized him I was so excited. RIP, Stan Lee and his creations have helped me get through the rough parts of life. I used to joke that I would never kill myself because Marvel would keep coming up with movies every couple months, always giving me a reason to live, and that was torture. But truly, I think without those amazing things he brought to life, I would have been long dead. Man, this sucks. I grew up on his movies, reading his comics. I hope he's having fun up there with his creations. Rest in peace to a truly great man. I went to Dragon Con with a friend in 2010. He had a Spider-Man issue 4 and had me get Stan Lee sign it. I was also dressed up as Princess Peach. I'll never forget his words to me. I wouldn't mind being your grandfather. Oh you amazing human being. We will miss you. I hope that in a future MCU movie, there is a scene in with the Watchers where one of them notes that he is no longer on Earth because he was promoted. Excelsior! It was the characters that he helped create that gave me so much entertainment as a child and even now as an adult. Rest easy. Excelsior, true believer. I hope they find a way to work him in some kind of cameo in the future movies. I can't thank Stan enough for giving me such great childhood fantasies. Tintin would shoot imaginary powers out of my hands again. Quite sad Stan Lee was not able to watch Avengers Endgame. I hope he was able to see some clips at least. It would be so charming if all the actors would get together and film like a 10-minute mini-movie where all the characters attend his memorial and pay respects. Very few celebrity deaths make me pause. Michael Jackson, David Bowie, Adam West, Stan Lee, X200B. You will be missed. RIP Stan Lee, you will always be a legend. Thank you for your creation of the heroes we all came to root for and love. Hope your next adventure is as exciting as all the adventures you gave us. Favorite cameo by far was his appearance in Guardians Volume 2, not for what he appeared as but for what he was talking about. I was cracking up as he sort of broke the fourth wall talking about all of his past cameos in a cameo. Super meta. We'll never forget all the incredible stories you've given us. You've impacted not just a generation, but generations to come. I have no doubt that Stan Lee will be on as many lips as Steve Jobs going down the line. You were a true inspiration, and I hope you found peace wherever you are now. Excelsior! Stan directly and indirectly gave us everything. He gave us F-King Megazords, before Power Rangers existed. He gave me a little, awkward adopted boy who never questioned who his parents are or were. Watchers, Beyonder, God, whoever, please bless Stan Lee. I am sure his cameos will keep appearing, but they'll have to be more creative. I would actually be really surprised if the cameos stopped, as they would be a perfect way to pay respects for him and to remember him fondly. From Spider-Man blankets, bed sheets, clothes, even underwear, I was raised by Stan Lee's creations. I will never forget you. You'll always live on in my heart, and I will never forget how you taught me even the small guys can stand up for something much bigger than themselves. I hope you rest in nothing but peace and love. Good night Stan, many tears will fall in your honor. He was a guest at my state's comic convention a couple years back. Unfortunately, due to his health, he was unable to attend. However, that didn't stop him from attending his panel. He set up a Skype call to the convention from his hotel room. He was able to answer fans' questions and had a smile on his face the whole time. How many celebrities do that? Not many. Stan truly was remarkable. Fuck's sake, he was just mentioned in a thread yesterday about people who have surprisingly not died yet. Today's been really rough for me. This doesn't help. I'm a huge fan of his work, as are we all. I'm even wearing Spidey Vans right now. I just wonder if his last days were comfortable, especially considering the awful news that's been coming out about his living conditions. F for a man who deserves so many Fs but never seemed to be bothered by Fs but purely did something he loved. Stan Lee's characters have been my biggest source of inspiration since I was a kid and are the thing I am passionate about to this day. Rest easy. Excelsior! I had the pleasure of meeting Stan Lee a few years ago at a VIP party at a local con. He was a fucking cool man. AF all the celebrities that have passed away in that later months and have provoked a big response from their fans, this really hit me and I understand what those fans felt when their beloved personality departed. This guy gave me choices to cope with loneliness, bullying or just slacking off. He got to see his work in the grandest cinematic universe ever made and participate in the universe he created all those years ago. I'd say he wasn't too disappointed, it was a good time to go, all the way on top. RIP Stan Lee. My parents decided to tell me today they're getting a divorce. I am 15 and Stan Lee has always inspired me and let me live the lives I wish I could through all of his stories and movies. Now that will mean so much more to me. This is the worst day of my life. Major F at it. Thanks everyone for all the kindness. Stan Lee gave me escape from my shitty childhood. He gave me friends when I was alone. He made me smile when I had nothing else to bring me joy. Thank you so much Stan Lee. Excelsior! A great and influential man that will truly be missed. I met him twice at a convention and he seemed to be incredibly and genuinely interested in his fans. My thoughts and prayers are with his family and close friends in this trying time. He and his wife both died at 95 years of age. He 35,018 days old. She was 34,850. With Stan only lasting 168 days more. I always was a DC guy more than the Marvel guy, but damn will I miss him and am I thankful for his work. Hope they shot a bunch of green screen footage of him so he can be planted into every future movie as a nod to what he gave us. Just imagine, your death being an event that people not only mourn over, but that people dreaded in advance. What a wonderful life this man lead. An inspiration to us all.